We are delighted to have this webinar on the topic of LLM optimization. This is a topic that we covered in different configurations, but today this is a very important and relevant topic, and we're going to cover the implications, what is actually happening in the industry, and how Nitro Systems can help you with optimizing your website better. A lot of vendors like ChatGPT and others developed over time vast amounts of data they learn from, and which they call LLMs, large language models, which enables to do a lot of very exciting things. And they sit at the heart of this AI revolution. And they go beyond just normal keywords in the sense they understand context, they are able to understand complex structured data and information. They're able to translate that into natural language, and therefore everything that stems from it, AI-powered search, etc. So this sits at the bottom of what we're doing, and we're going to discuss this now. So this is a very interesting data about where search engines are at the moment and where chatbots are. So you can see that in proportion, ChatGPT, the leader, is still smaller than search engines, but as you can see here, the trend is changing. Chatbots are gaining momentum and gaining volume, and they're becoming much more relevant and important. In simple terms, we can say that the leaders that we need to pay attention to are Google, which is the dominant search engine searches, and ChatGPT. But we will discuss this further. So the first thing that we need to understand is how does LLMs crawl, or applications like ChatGPT crawl your website in order to retrieve information. And there are varied opinions about how it's done. The main thing that you need to understand is that Google technology is to index the pages over time and keep a database of those pages. So it's like indexing, keeping the data, and then retrieving it from the index repository. While LLMs, at least that's what they claim, are actually searching immediately online the data. However, this is something that is probably not possible in many cases. And we know that there are quite a few situations where ChatGPT and other vendors took data, Microsoft Bing, and other. It's probably a mix, but this is the primary main difference between the two. The way to external the website information is predominantly with what's called sitemap, and the majority of websites have a sitemap. If you don't have a sitemap, this is a critical failure because you might not be exposing your pages to search engines. There are many solutions to create a sitemap. Most of them are free, some of them better than others, but generally it's a list of many URLs which the search engine just follows one after the other until it crawls all the pages, and then it links from one page to another. The second technique that is kind of emerging is something called LLMs.txt. There is a lot of controversial about this because it was developed by some organization that wanted to set a standard, but it's not quite clear that this is actually being followed by chatbots. But it might not hurt to add this. We, on our website, sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. We didn't see any impact, positive or negative, from having this file, but I assume it wouldn't hurt. So this is a slightly different format for the sitemap. It is more tuned LLM search. Although I'm pretty sure they also read the sitemap, but they don't actually expose this information. What is the LLM actually looking and searching for? What do they want? Basically, they want to answer some kind of a question. They expect people to ask a question, and they would like to be able to answer that question to the best of their ability and to be most relevant to the user. In our system, we're trying to externalize content in relation to a question and to optimize the two together. So what you can see here, where we have a page, I know it's a little small, I'll show it to you a little bit later, more enlarged. A page, the title, description, the conversational question that are AI generated in relation to the page, to the content, some performance data, and then you can see how the conversational question that was generated is integrated into the meta tags, in this particular case, the description. So this is basically how the search engine would feel comfortable associate a specific question with a specific web page content. In this particular an example of what is an LLM search readiness, just because we optimize this, and we'll show you some examples. I'll try to go to this page. So this is a page we created for the webinar. Part of this content for the webinar is actually content that explain what the webinar is about, but it's also optimized for SEO with specific terms and words. So if we will go to this page here, and we will look at our system here, we can identify the webinar. So this is the page that we're actually looking at, and this is the title, description, and the question that we optimized for. And you can see here that it appears in the meta description. And if we would search for this term, hopefully also the search engine would make this association. And in a minute, going down a little bit, we will show how we optimize the page to coincide with the content. So this is a very basic parameter that the search engine wants in order to feel comfortable to rank you. So let's continue a little bit, and then we can see some other examples. So this is another example that we took a term that is called adaptive SEO, and we can also check this in our system here. And we can also look at it. So we created content, in this particular case, 3 pieces of content before also. Each one of them is an article, and we'll talk about the characteristics of the article, what makes it ranking so quickly and fast. It was within a week, by the way, that we managed to rank on the first pages. So here you can see each pages it's ranking for, and all of these articles rank on first page, obviously different variants. We can actually show you here which keywords were ranked and how quickly they ranked. So if I'll go to the keywords, just look for keywords with adaptive. So you can see in a very short time, since we added these terms, you can see that a lot of these terms or questions are actually ranked on first page. All from these 3 articles. One is a product page, which explains the functionality on our website, and the other ones are content pages and webinar. This technique to give the search engine or the chatbot the information in a way that it understands works. We have multiple examples that we can show, and we can also share this with you. Let's go to another example. So here, this particular one, what is adaptive SEO? This one is in Google. Let's just take this one. Just log into a normal Google search. You can see Nitro appears here this time, 2nd position. I think before it was 3rd position, so we're also improving. And this is the product page that we've added. So within a very short time, we climbed to 1st position, both in normal search engine, both in AI overviews. And by the way, we can also go to ChatGPT. But in ChatGPT, you need to ask the question a little bit differently. What is adaptive SEO, and which technology vendor provides such a system? So that it can refer to the owner of the information, to the owner of the system. Otherwise, it just give you an explanation, which is good. We want to rank, so we just need to ask it in the right way. Here, Nitro SEO appears here. And it really depends a little bit about how you ask the question, but generally it complies with logic. Let's go to another example. This is Perplexity. This is the question that we actually put in Perplexity. Out of most of the LLMs, we find Perplexity, the ChatGPT, to better ones in terms of being able to address your question, to answer them well. Let's continue to another example. This is an example I've taken before. So you can see here that this is the question, and here's where Nitro came up. So I'm not saying that in every situation, in every query, it will appear, but it's starting to gain momentum, and it's starting to become much more dominant within all the answers that are appearing in relation to the source of that information. Good news are, as customers of Nitro SEO, you have this as a built-in function. We're actually the only application out there that is able to automatically generate conversational questions and add them to the meta tags automatically. It's a built-in function. Even the basic meta tag optimization function is actually included in that. So it's something that you can do with our help or by yourself. Now, if we're trying to figure out what are the building blocks of creating content that ranks, at the end of the day, the days that you just do simple things, backlinks or guest posts or things like that, they're over. You have to have a holistic view and to address all the components. And it's not that difficult because we'll show you some kind of technique. You need to have all these building blocks when you generate the content. It's enough to create 3, let's say, to 10 pieces of content, and then maybe just do a few more along every few months just to keep the momentum. So the first thing that we need to understand is that our content meta tags should be optimized for answering questions and answering data. I'm not saying that all the article or the page content should be associated with that, but you need to have some of it inside your content. So this is the entire section on your left side here is dealing with that. Content plus meta tags plus answering questions is a basic parameter that you should include in your content and pages. The second thing that you'll be adding, and we'll show you an example in a minute, is what's called structured data. Search engines, AI bots, they feel uncomfortable to give answers if they're not certain that the answer is correct. And structured data increases the likelihood of providing good and accurate data significantly. And that's why they give much more priority and they would rank you higher if you include structured data in your web pages. The other things that are relevant is to build trust and authority. It's not directly related to every piece of content. It's related to your entire website authority, but it's also included in specific web pages, and you need to give attention to that in various ways. And the last part is links, whether they're internal links pointing to these pages or these pages pointing to other pages inside the website or outside the website. So this is some kind of framework that if you follow it, the chances ranking high are pretty much certain. The more you invest in this, eventually you will do that. This is an example we did, which I showed you a minute ago regarding the article, which comprises of all of these elements, which cause this to rank very high. I'm not saying that every article that you would do will rank on first page. Also show you an example where not everything was ranking, but we just started, so it's within a week that some keywords are on first page, some are not, but I know that if we will continue like that, we'll eventually reach the first page. So first thing is, if you log onto our system here, you can see the pages that were created in order to address this topic of adaptive SEO in this particular case. You can see the conversational questions, the meta description, and so on. The little blue tick here indicates that this is a conversational question that is actually used in your meta tags. So it's quite interesting for you to follow and monitor. The second thing, you have a little three-dot menu here, which you can invoke different functionality. Some of that functionality are analysis of specific web pages, whether it's speed or rich results. This is Google rich results, and this is Schema results. And basically, once you press either one of them, you will get an analysis of what kind of rich results and schema is included on that page. In this particular case, if you go to schema.org and you press this link, you will get this indication. In this particular case, it's a PAC, frequently asked questions schema, which those conversational questions are also integrated here. And this is why, again, they have much higher priority to rank. So this is the code behind the page. It's not visible. I think in many webinars, we explain how to do it. We're not going to get into the technicalities of how to add the schema. It's not visible. It's hidden in the code itself, but it's read by the search engine and the chatbots displaying the question and the answer. This is one part of it. The second part of it is when you create an article, you need to do using certain strategy. Again, in a minute, I'll show you what tools we provide here. But at the end of the day, you need to include a primary keyword. In this particular case, it's adaptive SEO. And multiple secondary keywords that you've outsourced, you've added to the system and support this article. And then you need to rotate, change the primary keyword, the secondary, and therefore create 3, 4, 5, up to 10 articles around this topic. But all the components needs to be connected and synced and linked to one another. The last part, which is important, is validation by external sources, whether it's other websites that are pointing to this. In this particular case, we issued a PR about announcing our adaptive technology, which created backlinks to a specific page. By the way, you can add between 2 to 4 backlinks from a single PR. And the PR itself was distributed on 30 websites, even though that in this particular case, it's a no-follow link. Sometimes it is do follow, sometimes not. Even though it's a no-follow link, it has given a lot of power to these pages, and the chatbots, search engines did account for these backlinks pointing specifically to this page, And you can also see that we've optimized anchor text. So everything is tied together. The anchor text, the links, the content, the meta tags, the schema. When you use this strategy, it's almost guaranteed that you can rank. To reach first page, if it's a very competitive environment, you may need to add more and more content around this topic. And this is certainly what we would recommend to you. So just to summarize, before we'll go to a few more examples, large language model optimization is what we're talking about, is a strategy that ensures your content is visible, understood, and cited by AI models such as ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, etc. We would very much like you to implement this by yourself or with our help as much as possible. And we'll go through a few examples here just to give you more comfort in how it actually works. The first thing that I'd like to show you is something that we weren't able to rank for first page for all, that is AEO. So we just started this process here. This one we did rank exactly the same as before. We are ranking on the topic of Ask Engine Optimization for first pages for most of our articles. What you would notice here, which is quite interesting, is the number of words we position in the articles. So we noticed, and our research shows, the pages that have thousands of words rank much better in competitive environments than shorter articles. And ChatGPT is notorious for not liking to create longer articles than 1,000 words. So this is something that you should be aware of and try to resolve. Let me show you how we propose to create optimized content according to what we discussed now. The days where you just did one thing, only on page or only backlinks is over. You have to have a strategy that everything is kind of synced and linked together. And this is what we would recommend to you also to do consistently. So someone asked if this functionality is actually included in the AppSumo tiers. Yes, absolutely. This is a basic functionality that is included in all plans. It's a basic meta tag optimization plan, and it's included also in AppSumo lifetime deals and all the other plans. So let's revert back to the example here. If you want to pick a topic to optimize for, let's just choose one. One of the strategies that we can do is we can go and ask to see keywords with impressions or less impressions or keywords that are trending up. One of the default filters we have here, if you go to filters here, you can also configure your own filters, but we also have default filters, which, for example, show all the keywords that are trending up. And out of those, they're not necessarily on first page, but out of those, you can choose ones that are on second, third page, and try to push them to first page, for example. So if I go down a little bit, so these are all first page. Now we would go to second page, ask, for example. So let's try keyword with ask in it. So you can see here we have 15 keywords with ask, ChatGPT, ask, etc. And you can see that some of them are ranking on first, some of them are less. We can also see the volume if we want. Yes, and we can choose keywords with higher volume. At the end of the day, we want to drive traffic. Yeah. So I would say ask engine optimization. It's a very generic term. We're not ranking first page for this one, but we are ranking first page for a little bit longer tail versions of it. So if we were to take this one and try to optimize this one more generically, all we need to do is just select these keywords that are all not on first page, but these are the higher volume keywords. Let's say 4 of these. So I've come pages, second page, third page, first page. What I need to do after I selected them and after I see there is volume, and I can also see competition if I want, and choose the ones with lower competition. I can also filter and make a constant filter for me. Continue doing this by saving the filter, and then I can just go back and create more content. So all I do is just go to generate content, and we have a prompt generator that helps you create an effective prompt that will take you to your own GPT account. We analyze the website, we analyze the data, we analyze the user search intent, target audience, etc. All of this data is passed. Here you need to select the primary keyword of the article that you would be doing. Other parameters, whether it's a tone, what kind of an article, it can be a guide, or say here you select the keywords, but I can tell you that even if we would tell ChatGPT to 2,000 words, it might not necessarily actually listen to this request. In any case, we just press generate. It will take you to your own ChatGPT account, meaning you need to be logged into your own account. Here, if you want, you can still make changes, but basically what you're doing now, you're going into a specialized prompt agent that we created. It's totally free. It's part of the service that we are providing. It's tuned to create highly ranking SEO articles, and it has logic in the background that would take these prompt instructions with all the specific details that you want to create, and will research that topic. Look for the high-ranking article, top page ranking articles. It will analyze them. It will analyze Sitemap. It will eventually come up with an article that has a very high chance of ranking. And this article you can then add to your website. So let's just accept it as it is. I'll just press enter. And then basically you just review it. If you like it, you continue. You can give more instructions. For example, I'd like you to add information from this URL, other URL. I want you to expand to make it better, etc., etc. So here it created this article. So here it created this article. It created some comparisons, some other data. Of course, it can be on any topic. It's basically the topic of the keywords that you provide. And so created steps. So this is very nice because steps are part of a guide. You remember we selected here a guide. So guide integrates schema markup steps, how to do something in steps. And search engines and bots also like surface this type of information because it's structured. They can tell this is the first step, second step. They like this type of information and they tend to surface it much higher in the search results. So this is the article. All you need to do now is just review it, copy it, and then you can just add it to your CMS. Of course, you can give it some instructions, what should be. So here it gives you some statistics, which keywords were used, where they were actually placed. You can see the quality of the optimization, some framework, and you can see whether it was good optimization or not. Of course, you only need to copy the content. So you just copy this like this, and you add it to your CMS. So this is the H1. Usually we recommend the H1 to be similar to the URL, and this is how it's actually being added. Let's just see how many words we have here. And it did the 1,500, which is not too bad. Was not willing to do 700 or 600, but I guess they're getting better all the time. So this is a reasonable length, and it can rank. We found, though, that articles that are above 3,000 words tend to shoot up very quickly and rank very well. In addition to that, we would obviously recommend to add some images that are relevant to it, and images are also ranking as part of this. So this was just an example. Similarly, you can go in and give a URL to this prompt and say, this is an existing URL on my website. Please re-optimize this. But in general, you would need to give the keywords that you want to optimize. And this, if you keep on with this strategy, it will work. The only thing that we didn't do here is add the schema markup to it. And basically, the schema markup is a piece of code that you need to add to the web page itself. Let me just try to see if I can find some example. You see this spot here? You can see here it's called raw.js, and you need to add JSON file, which you need to generate using an AI tool with answer the question in a format that the search engine and the bot can read this. Now, this specific code is not visible, but it is being read. That's how it works. I hope I was able to explain to you how the system actually integrates all these components together. And eventually, the ranking depends to a large extent on your ability to integrate all these components together with the meta tag optimization authority of the website that includes all of them. Open to questions, anything that you would like to clarify. Feel free to ask me questions. Let's see, we should have had a survey sent to you. So if you had the chance to answer that, it would be very interesting for us to understand those issues. And if not, let's see if we have any other questions. Please feel free to raise your hand or to ask. Do we have any other question that was maybe missed?
I see only one question. Is this functionality comes in the base product,
Yes.
including consumer?
Yes. Greg asked this, and I think I did answer that. The meta tag optimization with the AEO Ask Engine Optimization is part of the product. It includes how to implement this. It usually goes into the settings, and in the settings you can apply rules of how to implement this. If you need any help, just feel free to book a meeting, and we will be able to help you implement it. Okay, thank you everyone, and we're very delighted and glad that you joined. We have many more webinars coming up soon. We'll be delighted to have you on board, and feel free to reach out to us anytime if you have any questions or issues that you need help with. Thank you very much.